Yo, hey there friends, Nick speaks, and today I got a special guest, real special. It's Victoria, my fellow teacher. It's a great pleasure for me to invite Victoria here.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello everybody. I'm going to tell my mom that I am online.
Great. It's the beginning of the new season. I mean, new teaching season. So, are you kind of a busy person nowadays?
I am very busy nowadays, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
It was really difficult. Remember how we tried to make an appointment? It was like, I'm busy this day, I'm busy today, I'm busy tomorrow.
As for me, I'm utilizing Google Calendar, so that's the only way I can remember things, because my mind never remembers things.
It's a cool thing. I agree with you.
Do you also schedule your classes in
Google Calendar? Yes, and your announcement came to me and was very convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the dress and all.
There are people who use Google
21st
Calendar.
century.
Exactly. Oh, we got our first like. Yeah, thanks Ekaterina. Okay, when did we meet first?
Did you attend Hugh Deller's seminar last year?
Oh yeah, exactly. That was the event for teachers, basically.
Probably there, but I don't think we communicated.
I think we were Facebook friends.
Yes, since then I think.
Since
before that, I don't remember. Really, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I can say when I really saw you for the first time and I knew that you were you.
Okay.
It was at Teachers Talk Shop workshop, where I spoke in May, I think.
Yeah, it was in spring this year, I think.
Yes, that was an embarrassing situation, can I tell?
Yeah, you go ahead.
For me, it was embarrassing, but not for Nick, hopefully. There was some, thing with the organization. I was running around the building, trying to find the keys, trying to find the security guide, and I saw there was a man walking around, looking tough, like Chuck Norris. And I thought, no way, seriously, no way, this guy is one of us. I mean, one of the teachers. Because
teachers.
We were friends on Facebook, so obviously I knew what Nick looked like, but in his avatar photo, you can look now, he looks different. He looks so nice, so sweet. But what I saw was manly man. And then when I never said hello.
Compliment.
Well, it is a compliment. It's meant as a compliment. And when I saw him in the room, I understood that he was he.
Yeah.
And I understood that I hadn't said hello. I had basically ignored him, and I felt so ashamed. And it's been what, 4 months since then, 5 months since then, and I'm still ashamed, and I still remember that. So I want to use this opportunity to say sorry. I didn't say hello.
Come on, it was like a gestalt that you had to close.
And I did. Thank you.
Yes, you did.
No, I know that everything is fine.
Well, I understand that people never the same way as they're on social media.
That's true.
You probably will agree with that.
Yeah, I'm blonde in my avatar photo.
Are you?
Yeah, I think yes.
I think I should check.
I'm gonna change it. I should change it.
Right now?
No, not right now.
Maybe a bit later.
Yeah, sure.
The other reason I remembered Victoria was due to the book you guys published. Is it a book to learn English or something?
No, we made. Can I put it here?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a book to study general English.
Okay.
So first of all, I should say that there is a project called Lawyers Talk Shop, made by Katya Kuprak. She is a lawyer and she is a producer of many events in the sphere of law.
Of law. Okay.
Yes, she is really cool, and she created this project from scratch together with hold on. And I joined it a little bit later, and then Katya had this idea to combine all the materials we used, all the materials we created and sent to our students in a book. And this is how Companion was born. The first time we published it in spring this year, and now we've published Companion 2.0, like the second version of it. I can show it.
You should, yeah.
Have it with me. Katya, if you're watching this, look, I'm promoting Companion. Basically, it's a compilation of a lot of different materials. Some of them taken from books, and we have references here, so don't worry about copyright, it's legal. And also I use doing business. Does anybody know doing business? Do you know doing business?
Doing business. Is it like in English again, book?
It's
like a
not a book
something?
per se. Okay, first of all, it's a website where you can see rating of countries.
Of course I know.
Of course you know, yeah,
Sure.
that's why I was like, do you know? And Belarus is not in the first place there.
No. I think it was either Norway or maybe New Zealand.
Something like that, but every year they change a little.
Yeah, like there's a competition.
So we didn't explain what it is. It's a rating of countries in terms of how easy it is to start a business.
Exactly.
But every country, usually legal firms, law firms in countries publish their own doing business magazine edition, whatever it is, in English.
Okay.
And here we have one by Riviera, one by Ernst & Young, and I think some more even. And the texts
like you mean about Belarus?
Yes, exactly, because the project Lawyers Talk Shop is not just about law.
Okay.
In general, it's about law in Belarus, because if you study legal English, you will find a lot of books about legal English, but you will see that they're all based on British law.
Okay.
And it's a different law system. It's common law. We have a different kind of law. We have a lot of different things, and sometimes it's very difficult to translate them, to explain them to our business partners from abroad.
Right.
So at Legal Talk Shop, we teach our students to speak about Belarusian law in English. And sometimes we have to be very creative, because there are things that are unique for Belarus. Like, I will say it in Russian, sorry, исполнительная надпись нотариуса. There is no such thing anywhere in the world but in Belarus.
Executive title of, like, I don't know.
Cool. All right. Some notaries.
Yeah.
I mean, there are several versions of it.
Okay.
People go creative because you have to. So this is what Lawyers Talk Shop is about, and that's why I use doing business, because it's about Belarus, about our law system.
So can I basically buy this book?
No, you can't buy this book.
I cannot buy this book.
It's
That's
published.
unfortunate.
I will give you this book as a present, and I brought it for you.
Yes.
So if you want,
it's awesome. So you should always invite people, especially you work with, like people from your
to
industry.
get some presents.
Yeah, you gotta get at least a book.
Just a book. Okay, and that's also courtesy of Katya Kubrok and Lawyers Talk Shop generally.
We should tag these guys in the post.
Why not? Sure. I hope she watches us.
Yeah, like legal remedies, debt recovery, prerequisites.
You see, the topic is debt recollection, so it's all about debt recollection.
Debt recollection. I was thinking that
Recovery
recollection
as well.
is more like can you recall
but
the day?
But you can Google it. You'll find the debt recollection and debt recovery are synonyms.
Right. So they are basically the exact the exact vocabulary to translate Belarusian terms. Yeah.
Yes, they study vocabulary. They also study how to just explain stuff. Next Wednesday we will speak about starting a company, incorporating your business in Belarus.
Oh, I think the only book I know on it, like for example, like once I had like my student was a lawyer, and I studied. Like, what was the book? Let me recall. It. Maybe it was. No, I'm not gonna recall it right now. Oops. Something like doing business. It's about like specialist English, but I remember that it was just one book, and you guys put everything together.
Everything
into this
that we study at
compilation.
Lawyers Talk Shop.
Okay.
All the topics we study, and some of the topics we studied before. Maybe we will not study this season, but they're here, so students can look through, study something else. All the vocabulary I also put on Quizlet. Do you know Quizlet? Of course, a stupid question, of course. Everybody knows Quizlet. And if you don't, you lost something in your life.
Oh, well, Quizlet it's an instrument which you can utilize for making quizzes, basically.
And I'm pretty sure people who watch us no.
I don't
Because
know.
if they're students of English, they probably know it because their teachers gave them links. If they're teachers, if you're a teacher and you don't know what Quizlet is, you should Google it. Seriously,
Well, there
right
are
now.
different types of teachers because, like, some of them never go abroad. Like,
So what?
some of them like prefer, I don't know, like spend their time watching Russian TV series and all, instead of living in industry, living at work. Yeah. So people are different.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So are your students mostly lawyers?
Half of my students, half of my clients are law firms, half of my clients are IT companies.
Okay.
Now, yeah, lawyers. You're still looking. Lawyers are a very important part because I guess that my first corporate group was in a law firm, and at first I taught them business English, and then I realized that they needed some more legal English, and I started educating myself.
Yeah, that's the book. That's a unique book, by the way. I wanna. Can you tell me more? I can't even imagine. Like, there's a law firm, right? So these guys, so they dress up, like very formally.
Okay.
And then you arrive by the end
Wearing
of the working
ripped
day.
jeans. Okay.
And they're like, and now, okay, guys, now we are going to play a game. You, Mr.
Okay.
For example, Ivan Alexeyevich, are going to be an elephant.
Okay, well, you don't do that with lawyers who are tired.
I hope you don't.
Okay, but actually lawyers, there are a lot of stereotypes about them. That
Okay.
they're boring, that they always wear
That's what you mentioned.
formal clothes.
Right.
I still wonder why people still believe it. I mean, they're the nicest guys I've ever met. They're super. It's always interesting to talk to them. They all like sports. They have hobbies. They know how to relax. If you go to Zibitska, you'll probably meet some of them there. I mean, they're so awesome, and really, they're not boring at all.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more difficult to talk to IT people. I think that some of the software developers can be more introverted.
Like
If you're a
reserved.
lawyer, how can you be introverted? You have to talk to people all the time.
Right.
Those who go to court have to actually speak in front of the judge. You have to be really prepared to speak, so that it's always interesting to speak to them. Any question I ask, I'll always get a long answer. They will try their best to say something, to speak. They're not lazy. And yes, they look beautiful. And at some point, I used to wear Converse sneakers, jeans.
Yeah, like
hoodies.
teenagers fashion, yeah?
Yeah, a lot of bands here made of leather or something, and
Okay.
it was my style, and I really liked it. I still
very-
like it.
Like a bit Californian.
Yeah, I hope so. Never been there, but I trust you. Okay, I love this style. I still love it. I would love to wear it every day, but at some point I understood that I come to the lesson. I have 3 students who are wearing shirts and jackets, and they look amazing.
Utterly impeccable.
Exactly, impeccable. This is the one I was looking for, by the way. You were reading my mind. All right. Anyway, and so I started buying suits. I started buying shirts. I started trying to wear something more serious.
You had to change your appearance.
Yes, I understood that. They still communicated with me normally, fine, but I really wanted to be a little bit more like them. And they know how to dress themselves, really. So.
But I think it's a very common saying because, for example, if you work at school, probably you want to look cool.
At school like school, or a school like private language school?
Maybe private language school. It's like a bit like I have some experience of it because, like, what I know about school, I know it's like utter hell there. That's all I know.
School for children.
Yeah, like a secondary school. Yeah.
Paperwork.
I wouldn't say red tape.
You have never worked for state school?
Well, during my university, I had my kind of mandatory practice there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But it was like, you know, like...
It doesn't count really because there are some mentors
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
children know you're young, you're a student and
Yeah,
it's easier.
Exactly.
I had the same. I was at Suvorovskoye училище. It was my practice.
Okay.
And at the same
Like
time, I was...
military academy, yeah.
Military academy for boys because military academy is...
Okay, cadet academy, maybe you can say.
So I think people
Yeah.
who are from Minsk know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Anyway, it was...
But like my audience is wider than just people
I'm sorry, yeah,
from
she
Minsk.
probably...
No probs. For example, oh yeah, I have some students who add me on Facebook, and there are former students from India, and some of the acquaintances
so
from
I
America.
should explain. It's not just the military academy, it's like a military school for boys. So boys go
Okay.
there from the age of about 12 or 13 years
Okay,
old
right.
and stay until the end of school, which is at about 17, I think. And after
Okay.
that, many of them can go to any university, but some of them go to the real military academy, which is a higher education establishment, a
Okay.
university,
Right,
and become an officer, become officers, they.
right.
So it was my practice, but it doesn't count really, because
It's amazing because I cannot even imagine like working in such a place where people like.
I mean, it was interesting really. There were a lot of boys,
Okay.
all of them, obviously, and I was young, I was 21, I was insecure about myself, about my teaching,
Okay.
and they felt it, of course, and they didn't really want to do what I told them to do. They ignored my instructions, but they had a very strict teacher, Tatiana. Her name was Tatiana, I don't remember her father's name.
Yeah.
And she sometimes sat at the back, and when she was there, everybody did everything I wanted. Also, there was one more way to influence them. They had register for marks, for grades,
Okay. Right.
but unlike a normal school, they had a notebook for teachers' notes. And if somebody misbehaved, you wrote something there.
Yeah.
And they had an officer who was responsible for a group of them.
It's
and
ideal.
If you, yeah, it's perfect. And if you write something bad there, the officer punishes them because it's a boarding school. They live there and study there.
That's fascism, basically.
Okay, but he punished them by not letting them go out at the weekend. Which,
Exactly.
okay, maybe it's fascism,
Like
but
by making them stay inside the premises.
yes, and you could say you do it or you stop talking, whatever, or I'll write something there, and they always listen to you. But I never did. Of course, I never did. I was 21 myself. I understood how important it was for them to go out, see their girlfriends, see their family, and.
Did you teach English there?
Yeah, right. Because I studied at Minsk State Linguistic University to be a teacher of English, and. Obviously, I had to do practice of teaching English, and at the same time, I was already hired by.
Yeah, practice. You mean like an internship? So it's a like type of a mandatory internship.
Right, it's part of our education.
Right.
In the last years of university, we had to do something like that. In the fourth year, I had to just observe and make notes.
Yeah,
Did
like.
you have anything like that?
Yeah, I basically had. Yeah, of course I did.
Did you study
Yeah.
at NLSU or?
No.
I mean,
Pedagogical.
but you studied to
the
be a
same.
teacher
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
so
yeah.
you had the
I
same.
did the same, right.
And then in the last year, we had to actually teach and show how well we can do it. But we couldn't do it very well because we were green and stupid.
Oh, that's very critical of you.
Of course we were. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
Remember yourself. It was 10 years ago. I remember myself 10 years ago. I was young and stupid.
Right. So, do you think these students at this military like pre-academy learned something?
From me.
Yeah.
I think yes, because at the same time I was already working for Streamline. Streamline is a private language school in Minsk. I think the biggest.
Yeah, it's a major school. I
They
think
are,
it's a big brand.
They're
which
market
everybody
leader
knows.
in Belarus. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
So I was in my 5th year. I was already hired by Streamline, but I was only beginning to teach there, and I was really stressed because I had to give good lessons at Streamline.
Sure.
And I had I had mentors. I had a lot of help, but I still had no experience, so I couldn't fight my insecurities or whatever. And at the same time, I went to Suvorov, to this military academy, which is called Suvorovsk, it's its name.
Of course.
And I took some ideas from Streamline where lessons were much more interesting, were not based on, a boring grammar book, but they were based on some interesting materials.
Like Headway, I think at that time.
Yes, I think cutting edge, but not only books, tricks, like things you can do. For example, tasks like a walkabout, when students get up and have a card and ask a question to everybody. It's a simple
like
activity.
Mingling, right?
Mingling, yeah, some people call it, I think walkabout I've read somewhere, but never mind.
Of course, yeah.
So, in state school, it's not something that was done a lot at that time, I don't know about now. And when I did it to them, they were first a little confused, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, of course.
And like, what? And I also showed them a video. For them it was like, wow, video, we've never watched, but okay. And it was amazing, and I'm pretty sure I taught them a lot because I managed to create some impression, and of course they remembered something. I remember it was about jobs. Future profession.
Future profession.
Yeah.
Like, my future profession will be army.
And to tell the truth, and homework was to write a little essay or whatever by future profession. And what they did was, at first I started checking them, and I couldn't understand why I can't understand. I am a 5th year student at INIAS. I must, understand English, especially written by a small boy. Yeah. And then I realized...
Was it so sophisticated?
Look, it wasn't sophisticated, it was worse. Google Translate. Do you trust it? I mean, if you need to translate something from Russian into English and you have no time, do you copy there and look at what Google gives you?
Well, not now.
Okay.
Some students do it.
I do it like that now. If I have no time, I can do it. If somebody asks me to translate some text, some post for Facebook, and I have no time, I do it, and I edit it. It works, a little faster than just actually translating on my own. Yeah. But now Google Translate is quite good. I don't know if you noticed it, but it is learning.
Yeah, like it's improved significantly.
Right, but 10 years ago it was terrible. I mean, you can translate separate words, but you couldn't translate sentences. They didn't make sense. So what my students did was they wrote their essays in Russian. I understood it by reading because I started seeing Russian word order in the sentences, Russian everything.
Sentence structure and all.
And I was like, I'm onto you. And I had to give them all some bad marks because it was not English. It was Russian written with English words.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of fun with them anyway.
Yeah, maybe like they didn't understand. They were a bit angry with you, like this coming, this like they're so clever and smart and all from Linguistic University,
They just really were not enthusiastic about English in general, and they didn't really want to do anything.
When you were speaking about this experience, I recalled my first lesson, and it was in India, basically.
God. So, first lesson, stress because you're not experienced, plus a different culture, very hot, probably some insects flying around, no?
Like a lot.
A lot of insects?
It was like outside.
The lesson took place outside?
Outside, yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Okay, tell me more about, please.
Okay, I've been doing an internship as a part of this ISEC exchange program. So at that time I went to teach 2 subjects, project management and Russian language in Anglийского business school in Indore, central India. But I was a project manager practitioner, so I never studied it. Only studied PM book.
PM book, by the way.
Sure. Yeah, and just to make sense of what we're doing in the office. Yeah, so I was doing teaching. It was very bad. Yeah, and students kind of attended my classes just because I was a foreigner, and
it was an advantage for you.
Exactly, and it was, I think, the only advantage.
But you gained experience, right?
Yeah, and then I was thinking maybe I should stay in India and do business or find a better job. So I was crossing the street to buy some bananas.
Okay.
Yeah, because like Indian food was
Difficult for you?
absolutely impossible to digest with like super spicy. So I was crossing the street, and one guy came by bike, like by motorbike, and it was Mohit, Mr. Mohit Khurana.
Can he watch us? Is he your friend on Facebook?
I'm going to tag him.
Okay, right.
So, he was one of the partners of a language school.
All
so
right.
he invited me for a hangout. So I hanged out, and I understood from the hangout that maybe there's an opportunity. Yeah.
And
so,
he was probably thinking the same. It's an
course,
opportunity.
Of course, yeah. And like then he invited me to give a lesson, and I was offered 300 rupees for this lesson.
How much is that in dollars?
It was like $4 or $5, something like that.
What were the prices in India? I mean,
like of
$4
course
is
they are
not
lower,
much.
but like what I earned at that time, it was like several times like double.
So,
So
it
was
was
like very low. Very
okay.
low.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what did you say to that?
I said like okay, because it was like a trial lesson.
I see.
So I came there, but I knew that I needed money and I needed a job. So I was trying to make the most energetic,
The best you could do.
Yes, and it was more like Tony Robbins' show.
Yeah.
Rather than
If
an
you want to
English
be
lesson.
healthy, eat healthy.
Yeah.
If you want to feel good, get up early.
Yeah.
If you want success.
Yeah, but at that time I had like so many students you cannot imagine, and that's why it was not inside the class, but it was like outside the class.
I see.
So it was in the evening, and it was during the puja.
What is
Puja is the religious ritual, which they accompany with this bell, like.
And it takes place once a year, every day.
You know, every day.
Okay.
Yeah. So this puja, like, the bell was very loud from everywhere.
And how long does it last?
I can't recall, but I had a feeling it lasted forever.
Eternity.
Yes, and then there were insects.
Okay.
Because they were coming to, like, they switched the light on, and
course they
all
came.
the insects were coming to me, and I was like,
Jesus.
and there were like a lot of students, and at that time I didn't realize that they actually don't get my English.
Really?
Because their English is a bit different.
Yeah, I know about that.
Like, you have to follow their rules. Like, for example, we say like Mr. Andreu, and they say Mikola sir.
So basically.
Yeah. And
all
there
right.
were like regional differences like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, so instead of one lesson, I've given 3 after that, because students were looking at me like at the miracle.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, you were exotic for them.
yeah, and like Captain Jason Thomas, another colleague, and another the stake shareholder, I think, or the co-owner of that school, like, he saw that, like, he was prepared to take these batches, but because people were crazy, I said, no problem, I'll take them. So I made it one day, I made it 900 rupees instead of 300 rupees, and I got a job.
Alright, so you managed to impress them.
Yes, I did.
Okay, but the conditions, to tell the truth, I remember my first lesson, I was very lucky.
Okay.
I had no insects,
Luckily.
no bells ringing around,
Okay.
just students, a nice room, and yeah, now I understand that my life was much easier. You got some tough experience.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I delivered real value in terms of teaching them English. It was more like a cultural experience and some.
But it's
like,
also valuable. I mean,
okay, yeah, sure.
why not? They came, they got something. Why not?
Yeah, I agree, and and they said like this school had become very popular after that.
All right.
And I can continue for 2 years with them.
All right.
Yeah, now it's one of the major schools in their city.
This is cool. Like Streamline in Minsk.
Well, there they have way more competition.
Really? Wow. Okay, I thought that we have a lot of competition here in Minsk.
Well, I feel like Belarusians know nothing about competition. So when you go abroad.
Yeah, I've heard that from a friend who is a marketing specialist who said to me that you don't understand. There is virtually no competition.
No competition,
in Minsk.
exactly.
But he was speaking about, I think he was speaking about food, restaurants and coffee shops.
Yeah.
But maybe it can
You
be
go to
applied to
Istanbul.
language schools. No, I've never been, but I can imagine, I think, what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, if, for example, if you run a coffee shop, so if you have some, like unique idea, or you are popular with customers, so maybe next month you will have like 7 or 8 coffee shops that will copy exactly your idea and exactly what you were doing. So on your street alone.
Oh my God, this is really difficult. It's difficult to survive. I mean, in terms of business, it's difficult to survive there. Okay. Okay.
So
you should probably appreciate it. Sorry.
No. It's a conversation. It's not like an interview.
I'm a person who just sometimes speaks too much.
But I think it's common for teachers. We just speak too much. Do we? If you think that teachers speak too much, comment please.
Teachers speak too much in friendly conversations with friends, for example. Because if we
Hello Natalia, how are you doing? Great to see you.
Okay,
Cool.
where were we?
Yeah, we were like enjoying ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it's a real pleasure and an honor to have you here because you're a celebrity teacher. So that this type of impression I got.
Mom, watch! They're calling me celebrity. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling me a celebrity. I'm gonna tell my mom. She'll be so proud.
So the first unique thing is that you co-authored the book. Although I understand, it's not exactly unique, but come on, show me anything unique after Bible.
All right.
Like anything.
It's a good point.
All right. Yeah. And are your classes with lawyers and IT specialists popular in Minsk?
I don't advertise myself as a teacher. I don't gather people for a group.
Okay.
It's not how I work. I'm a corporate teacher, which means that companies employ me.
Corporate, meaning that you apply corporal punishments at your lessons. Is this correct?
No. I would like to sometimes.
That was a joke.
Yeah, of course. But have you ever felt like punishing someone at your...
Punishing? That's why I joined boxing.
I work for a company. Every day, also, you was. Okay. It's just it happened today again. So I was like, come on, come on. How many times? Okay. Anyway, so I'm basically a contractor.
Okay.
Which means that a company decides to hire me, and we sign an agreement, a contract, according to which I am to come to them at certain time on certain days and conduct lessons with their students.
All right.
That's all. And every month I give them an invoice, and they pay.
So I can say that you're a teacherpreneur.
Oh yeah, it's such a cool word. It's a buzzword nowadays. Kinda. Why not?
Yeah. I think entrepreneurship on a global scale is so ubiquitous. It's so kind of sexy. Yeah. Like
entrepreneur. It even sounds good.
Like, what do? I'm an entrepreneur of this company, and I'm a CEO.
And the founder. And
yeah.
on Instagram, people write founder.
I'm a founder.
I actually do nails, but I'm a founder.
Yeah, but of course I like it. I really like entrepreneurship, and I appreciate people doing it because.
But you also do it,
I'm just a self-employed teacher.
And you are this way. You are an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur.
Yeah, you do business. Your business is quite small in comparison to Streamline. but it's business. I do business, which is also very small.
I don't think it's business. I think it's like
Hobby?
self-employment.
But what is self-employment?
But what is the difference? I don't know. Like, how do you define like business and like self-employment? Like, how do you distinguish that between them?
I don't distinguish. I think that self-employment is a kind of business. You know, businesses can be small, big, and I think it's a small business. It's what you start with. You can always be on this level. I mean, you can always be a self-employed teacher and be happy about it. Or you can at some point say, I want more. I want to incorporate my business, and this means that you will start a company, you will start employing people.
Okay.
And if you employ, as we have this officially, you are probably too, I am a sole proprietor, an individual entrepreneur officially.
No, I used to be, but nowadays I just pay the taxes and
yeah, because you probably work with natural people. It's called natural person.
Natural
in Russian
people.
we say
Right.
natural persons is probably better, as opposed
You
to
mean
a
like
legal entity. As opposed to a legal entity.
I was thinking it's a physical entity, no?
Nope.
It's not.
Nope. I checked because
Always improve your English.
natural person is maybe physical entity is possible. I mean, you can always Google and you will find, because you know they speak English in America and Britain and New Zealand and
Of course.
Australia and everywhere they have some words, their words.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, you work with people, actual people. All right, so you need to pay this
Tax on a monthly basis. That's
tax, and you fine. I work with legal entities and I can't, so I had to officially state that I work and I will pay taxes, I will pay social security payments, whatever they are, fees, and I can hire 3 people.
Okay.
And even if I do, I still think that it will be a very small business. I think that, and I'm still an entrepreneur.
Oh yeah. So we established the definition of business and.
In our opinion, in my opinion,
Yeah,
I say what I think, but opinions can differ, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about the opinion. It's not like written, because even if it is written, there is so much difference between the legal systems in different countries.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah.
And speaking about the groups, so I can't say that they're popular or not popular. I mean, they hire me and they give me a group. And I have a client where I have 6 groups. And there I am popular. People want to get...
Excuse me, I have 6 groups, yeah?
6 groups in one
in one sitting.
In one company. But I have some more but it's the biggest client, okay, with 6 groups. They are the biggest. And there people want to join my groups. Maybe they talk behind my back. They discuss the lessons, come to their offices and say that they like the lesson. I hope. So people join the groups. People get added. If people get added to the groups. So maybe they are popular.
Tell me more, if it's not a secret.
Not a secret, but what do you mean more? What do you want to hear?
Like a group, for example, there are groups from 4 to 10 people. So what's your average? And especially if they attend every class.
No, of course not.
That was my question.
Yeah, I like groups of about 8 people.
8 people.
I feel comfortable when there are 6 people. Why? Because 6 people is not many, but not few.
Okay.
You can separate them into 3 pairs.
All right.
2 groups of 3.
Of 3, yeah.
If you really want, you can make the work in one team.
Sure.
So it's perfect. Just like 12, but the number 12 is much bigger. 6 is more comfortable. I try to have about 8 people on the list of the group. But IT people have meetings and stand-ups and some grooming sessions, whatever they are, I don't know.
Do they
call it grooming
or something?
Yeah, no, it looks like a meeting. I've once, witnessed a grooming session. Somebody was speaking, people were listening or discussing something, and they were taking my room. I was supposed already to be there in the room,
right.
and there is a glass window in the door, and I was like. So that's how grooming went for me.
Get out!
And they were like, sorry, 2 minutes, please. It's okay, that happens. So sometimes they come to the lesson, sit there for about 30 minutes and say, sorry, Victoria, I got a dash, I'll be back in 20. They go to a meeting, come back. Sometimes they just don't come and they write.
That's horrible.
That's normal for them. It's a work.
That's a lot of disruption. I imagine I'm running a lesson. I have my lesson plan. Like you have I started like, this is the vocabulary we wanna study today.
I imagine that happens when you have pair work and everybody is discussing something in pairs and I don't know, whatever, recycling vocabulary. There are 3 pairs and one of them just suddenly gets up and says, sorry, I gotta go, and she goes away, or he goes away, and this person, one person is left without a partner, but it's okay, you can deal with it. You have to deal with unexpected situations in your lesson all the time.
Well,
and
of course,
you just don't care at some point. You stop caring about some point.
Okay.
So, okay, they don't attend all classes, and they sometimes warn me, sorry Victoria, we have a release of whatever
software,
application. Yes, they have releases regularly, even if they do one and the same application. For example, some of them have releases every week.
Yeah, because it's agile.
Oh, it's a very interesting sphere. Yeah, they have sprints. They have, I don't know, they have some agile, Scrum.
Yeah.
Whatever. And of course, be my guest. Don't come.
Yeah.
I mean,
but what I found like negative, like the kind of the repercussions of that they don't cover the tuition themselves. Like the company pays their tuition, so they don't value it enough. Exactly.
That's what you want to say.
So if you didn't pay for something, you don't value it.
I have something to say about it. I believe that, and I thought that students must pay for their own tuition. So even if the company hires a teacher, they should somehow get the money from the salaries, whatever. But strangely enough, I have a client with 6 groups, an IT company, where the company fully pays for the lessons that I give.
Yeah.
And they, whenever they can, they always come. As I told you, they sometimes skip classes.
They attend lessons, right?
Yes, they skip when they have meetings, when they have a lot of work.
Stand-ups, yeah.
But they always come if they can, and they do their homework. I mean,
homework?
Really,
Seriously?
yes. And if I fail to send homework for some reason, I get emails like, Victoria, hello, what about our homework? And I've been working for this company for 2 years and several months, I think. And every time I meet their executives, I always say, guys, I don't know how you achieved it. I mean, it's something in the air. It's something.
You mean the level of engagement? Yeah?
Yes, something in your organizational culture, because it's not common, but they come to the lessons, they are enthusiastic, they do their homework. I love it. But
maybe you should advertise this company, no?
What do you mean?
Advertisement, maybe like you should voice, or it's better not
I am reluctant to do so, not because I don't want to.
Okay,
I'll explain why later.
You never know. Maybe it's your company.
I don't think I can. It's
sure.
Just,
yeah, of course.
And about attendance, lawyers attend work. You know.
Yeah.
The attendance of lawyers is worse.
It's worse.
So. Yes, it's worse because they have crazy lives. They
can easily make excuses.
I do trust them. No, they have court hearings, and the appointment with the judge or whatever it is doesn't depend on them. They have project. They have such crazy lives, but very interesting. I don't know. I think lawyers are the most rock and roll profession, number 1, and teachers number 2.
Teachers number 2. Sorry, teachers.
But lawyers, I don't know. You go to court and you're like, and you win the case. I mean, it's so amazing. Okay, sorry, I'm rambling.
I don't know. I was under the impression that these court hearings are very different from what we see in the movies.
Yes, they are, because in Belarus, it's absolutely not like in America, and we usually watch American movies.
Yeah,
but
12 Angry Men, for example.
Of course, but you, as far as I know, in court you still have to speak. You still have to try to prove your point. You have to prepare lots of documents. You have to know. You don't know the judges, but you can know what to expect from them from your experience.
Being generally familiar with what to expect.
And I don't know. It's amazing, especially when you win, and you're hired to win. So I guess that And I think that it's amazing. And of course, it's too late to study law and become a lawyer. But looking at them, I like it, to tell you the truth.
I think that it's such a common phenomenon when you work in the field, and when you are 100% in it, you become enjoying it and love these small things and admire like the people who are actually like stars in this field. Whether it's teaching, for example, as for me, when I like in the beginning, even though I graduated from pedagogical university, I never considered teaching profession as you know, like the way of a star or the way of a warrior, you know.
The way of a warrior. Well, me neither. I also didn't consider teaching as a profession until I got hired to Streamline.
Okay.
And then I started considering it.
So we should give such a piece of advice to all the people watching. So if you want to advance your career, so your first step should be for a major player in the industry. Agree?
But what about, for example, International House?
I mean, like
major player also. Okay.
Like one of the majors, I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree. I know that it's not what everybody does, and I'm sure that not everybody will agree. But for me, it was like that because I was, as I told you, I was young and green, and I had no experience, and they hired me, and they taught me to teach. Because in a big school, you get groups, you get support of superiors who actually help you plan, and it's amazing because you write an absolutely shitty plan, and they say, "Oh, oi,
a masterpiece."
But here you should do something else. Take that material, go to and bring me that book, and then you see another plan. But you learn, and then they also come and observe you, and it's super stressful. And I hated it, and I would hate it again because it's stressful. Because nobody warns you that they would come. You just every day you expect a head teacher. But then they give you feedback, and this feedback was invaluable. And especially when I was younger, when I was only beginning, and I remember they told me this was like bad, not in, you know, the wording was different, but this was bad, this was good, bad, do it like this, like this, like this, and I used it, and it worked. And
so
it
you follow this
I
feedback,
did, of course. I mean, who wouldn't? It's free advice. And also big schools have annual seminars, and not only annual seminars, just regular seminars, some sessions for teachers, which I didn't appreciate enough at the time. I was young. I was like, oh, seminars. Again, yes. I did attend them because I had to.
The bar is getting open already.
Yeah, something like that. I had better things to do, like see my friends. But I came to the seminars. And now I think, oh my God, it was free CPD, and now I have to pay hundreds of dollars to listen to basically the same stuff. And teach
CPD. Let's
CPD.
abbreviate it for those who are not teachers. So CPD is basically a certificate of police department, right?
Of course, exactly.
That was a joke.
Yeah, it's continuous professional development.
Yeah.
I think that it's applicable to any profession, but I've heard it only about teaching.
Same with me.
In our sphere, IELTS, CPD. Everybody says that, but it's applicable to everybody, absolutely everybody.
I don't know, but medical
you think they don't need it?
I think like they have it kind of without even considering, because like they need it, so they have to.
New technologies, new medicines,
new up to you.
Research. IT people also do it all the time, because if you don't do it, you can't compete, and at some point you just stay on the same level.
But if you permit, like one thing is that one, for example, a designer who studied with me. So this designer is employed with a major IT company in our country. So he said that most of the time people who are not good at what they do learn, because if they're good, they already have a project, and they're occupied with this project. And if they're not good, like the others do not take them on a project, so they had to learn another software or another like something new to showcase it in your CV to get another project in their company. So that's
an interesting idea.
It's a bit strange, actually.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard another thing about learning. It's, I forgot the name, the Kruger effect. The first name I
maybe
escaped on.
Danzig Kruger.
Yes, I think. By the way, if Natasha's still watching us, she told me about it. Then I read about it somewhere or listened to a TED about it. It's a very interesting thing when people who know little about something actually believe that they know a lot, whereas people who really know a lot self-conscious and insecure and think that they know nothing. But remember, one of the ancient philosophers said that the more I live or the more I learn, I understand that I know nothing. What I know one thing is I know nothing. Is it? I don't remember who said that. One of the Greek philosophers.
Of course. You meant that freshers are normally overconfident and more. Well, I don't know if it is
experienced. Okay, people
are less confident.
Well, I don't know if it works for everybody, but I remember when I was still at Streamline, still younger, and I was like...
come on!
I was 20, for example.
Younger, you probably referred not to the age, but to
younger
the early
than now.
career stage, like to the level of
Yes.
professionalism.
I mean, I don't really care about age. I really think that...
Yeah, like it sounded like I was
like,
a bit
I
younger.
think that my mom, who is 50, say 53, is young, okay? So I don't... No, I mean younger, like younger than now or less experienced. I thought I was a star. And... I was so cool. I was liked by my students because I was, a little crazy and I was bouncing off the walls. It's something that we were not to do at Salta. And people like it, like stand-up comedian. And I thought I was so cool. And then when I learned more and more and more and more and more, I understood that I sucked. And now I can't be sure if I'm a good teacher. And for me it worked, and I don't know about now. Maybe I'm still that overconfident person.
Which brings us to the question. The question of career choice.
Okay.
Today, like it's such a popular trend that you kind of like you have to love what you do, right? Or you have to do what you love, right?
Have you watched Futurama?
What's that?
You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay.
Oh yeah, I heard this phrase. Yeah.
It was the slogan of their I don't know how to call it, employment service or job police. Again, you can watch the first episode. It's quite cool anyway.
Okay, but the question was, do we choose what we love? Because if we choose what we love, it's like a hobby. And if you apply your 200%, and if you press, for example, you're a teacher, so you're crazy about teaching. Oh, I love it so much. I love English. Oh, I love it so much. And
it already sounds
exactly right.
Okay, so I believe that you have to like what you do to be a happy person, because if you don't like it, how much time do we spend at work? Office workers spend about 8 to 9 hours if they don't have to do overtime. I spend more than that, and if I hate every hour, every minute of it, I'm going to be so depressed. And the quality of my life, no matter how much I earn, it doesn't matter. At some point you understand that your time, your pleasure, the state of your mind matters more than money. And hobbies. Okay, you're a teacher, you love teaching, that's amazing, but how can you say that it's your hobby? It's your job. First of all, you have to like it. But then, I think so. But then there are hobbies like knitting, drifting. I want to take it up. I'm thinking. I really need a car for that though.
Okay, alright.
Anyway.
I tried wakeboarding.
Okay, super. Yeah, wakeboarding, snowboarding,
It was
and skiing.
horrible.
Really?
Yeah, like.
Okay, I know a guy who can actually do it very well, and he loves it, and he even bought a boat.
Okay.
And he keeps a boat in one of the somewhere in lakes near Minsk.
Sure, yeah.
Because he loves it so much. Why was it terrible?
I mean, I didn't get quick results.
Oh, but you have to learn. It's called to put you on board. You have to.
Yeah, like imagine a student that is attending his first or second class. So despite doing snowboarding, so for a couple of seasons, I couldn't do any of this wakeboarding because
because of the water.
Because it's water and I just drowned. That's it. Yeah, and all people were looking at me like this guy is continuous for 2 hours. This guy is going down.
I thought that you have a kind of a wakeboard simulator in a water park.
No, that was in Florida, in Rixon water park.
Because I mean, if you really want to learn, I think you could go and start with the simulator and then go to Minskaya More. The lake.
There was no simulator, so
you just had to think a lot.
Yeah, I synced a lot. So
it was your experience.
Yeah, imagine a student which is attending his first class who's feeling super embarrassed probably.
Yeah, I understand. I think I felt that in my life as well.
So basically you're saying that you don't have to love what you do. So
even if it's your hobby.
Yeah.
For example, imagine it's your hobby and you start doing it 10 hours every day for money. Because it's not gonna always be pleasant. Sometimes in teaching you will encounter students who will rub you the wrong way.
What do you mean?
Will
I mean I get it. Yeah,
okay, maybe you're lucky enough and you can choose students and you can get rid of those you don't like, but sometimes you can't, right? And I love teaching, but then there's this guy.
Yeah.
He because I have had experience like that, unfortunately.
Like what?
With a guy who basically disrupted my classes.
Did he hate it? You?
No,
or just
he didn't hate me. He didn't hate people.
Okay.
I don't know. He was a normal guy. That was the problem. if I saw that he was, not okay, or basically hating me and acting aggressively towards me, I could take some action. No, it wasn't the case. But we had a lesson. And he starts saying something or asking some questions.
Like interrupting?
Interrupting, and the questions, I don't remember them.
Okay.
But they were impossible to answer, and they had nothing to do with the lesson, with the material, with anything.
Right.
And the other students, I saw that they got embarrassed or confused.
Yeah,
and I saw red, and I understood that influenced my mood a lot. And it influenced the quality of the lesson.
Basically spoiled it.
Yes, and even though I could somehow, solve those situations and I could get out of those situations, I realized at some point that after that, my mood spoiled and it was not professional. And I understood that the quality of my lessons reduced. I realized that my students, the other students in the group, deserved better than that. And I eventually solved it by finding another teacher, warning them about it, and she was fine. She's calmer than me, she's not as emotional, or she's just a different person. It's terrible. So how can you enjoy such a lesson? No way.
There's no way in hell you're gonna do that.
But genuinely, I love teaching anyway, but it's not my hobby, it's my job. I think that we have to differentiate it, because if you have one hobby and you make it your job,
then you don't have a hobby.
What do you do different? Also your work. At some point you will get tired. You will.
Yeah. So don't. Let's give some morale to our watchers. Don't make your hobby your job. Or
find another hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go and find another hobby. There are so many things, cool things, to do.
Yeah, I think that there should be a distinction between a hobby and a job. For example, if you don't like someone, or if you don't like someone is getting like late all the time, or some habits of a person. Like one of the students, for example, used to smoke immediately before the lesson.
Oh, the
But
smell.
It was a female student.
So probably it was okay. But anyway,
I was totally okay with that because
well, actually, yeah. Whether she smokes or not, it's her business.
yeah.
You know, the only people I really don't like is when people, you know, a bus comes to the bus stop.
Okay.
The guy's smoking.
Okay.
He inhales the last whatever portion.
Yeah.
Throws the cigarette butt on the ground, of course, because he doesn't have time to throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
And gets into the bus and exhales. That
Hello.
sucks so much.
Yeah.
Jesus, who does it even? But people do. I've encountered a lot of times. And everything else.
But it's not about post-Soviet countries, because I just came from America a couple of days back, and I can say that, oh God,
they also do it, or they don't do it.
They do all types of things.
Well,
and they are not shy.
Okay.
Like in Belarus, for example, many people are like kind of like shy, you know, insecure. Yeah, you can say shut up to anyone, and he or she will shut up.
They will listen to you.
Yep.
Okay.
But I don't think so. If you in America, for example, or in Poland, say like tell someone shut up. Like, oh
You're in trouble. Yes. You're in trouble, my friend.
Exactly. Like this is a free country.
Yeah, but if someone says shut up to me now, I mean here, I would probably get scared, you know? Yeah, I would probably you're right, I would shut up just to run away from that guy.
Yeah, like, you know, like...
allowed himself to say that probably dangerous person, I should probably stay away.
Exactly.
Something like this.
Yeah, especially if it was me, for example, like in like late during the night, like I would be in
dark coat.
Like dark coat, and like my face will be like, shut up, and like I would...
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So we were speaking about hobbies.
About hobbies,
yes.
exactly. Actually, I have a plan of our speech.
This is cool. Streamline.
Yeah, streamline. We discussed streamline.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Do what
now. Yeah. Do you also run private classes?
Like with one student?
Like individual students, like 1, 2, like maybe 3?
Yes and no. Yes, I have 3 individual students.
Okay.
But no, because they are part of, they are employees of the companies where I work for. So I have groups and individual students there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
right.
Am I making myself clear?
Yeah, I think it's very
so
clear.
The question is about teaching individual students, right? Like one person in a group.
Mm-hmm. Like, what do you enjoy most, and like, what are the like? Basically, if a student is facing this choice, either to attend classes like his or her corporate classes or individual classes. Because the corporate classes are already like paid for.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes even individual classes can be paid for by the company.
Okay. Yeah.
So imagine a choice. You can choose. Doesn't matter you pay or not. You can choose an individual class or a group. It depends on you, on the person, on the student. I have a lot of students who would prefer individual classes because they want the attention of the teacher, and they want it only on them, and they want to communicate with the teacher. And they don't. I have a student with whom we tried. You know, I tried to add a person to his group. So they were 2 and me, and it didn't go well at all.
Yeah.
And then we continued having lessons only face-to-face, me and him, and again, perfect student. He was fine, he felt comfortable with me, but not with the second lady. Anyway, some people, I have another student who says individual classes is boring. I am such an active gal, I want to go and study in a group. So you see, some people really like it. They like mingling, they like different partners for speaking, they like this, you know, I have a Russian word which is a slang word, never mind.
No problem.
A lot of activity, and some people really want calm, but calm
Like
lesson.
focus study, for example.
And yeah, the focus of the teacher only on them. So I guess it depends on you, and also on your financial possibilities, because some people just can't afford individual lessons. Okay, wait a little.
But nowadays we know that, for example, in Minsk, like many of our students are either already employed in IT sector, or they are going to be employed there, or like they are thinking about it. Yeah, or it's at least it's their children.
Okay.
Yeah, who we teach. So this sector impacts us, I mean, English teachers significantly, because this is where all the demand comes from.
I guess so, yes. And I have several IT companies as clients, so to prove the point. And they really need general English to be able to speak to their customers. You don't have to teach them IT, actually. It's interesting that they know their IT words better than us, and they easily use them. But what concerns writing emails, saying small things like small talk, or saying hello, goodbye, and very simple stuff, saying bless you to a person who just sneezed and so on, they don't know how to do it. Well, in many cases, of course, some of them are very good at English.
As far as small talk is concerned, well, I used to have this excuse that I don't see the point of this small talk. Like, it's kind of, I had this permission not to do small talk like at all.
You mean with your students?
Like, with my students, of course I did small talk, because it was the, like, you know, the way how to, like, step by step to establish the context and then to continue the lesson. It's like easier, right? But I mean in real life.
But in our culture, it's not important. In our culture, you can
you mean in Eastern Europe, yeah?
Yeah, you enter an elevator, for example, and there are people. You turn your back on them and it's okay. But
so it's normal not to say hello in public spaces.
Would you do that? Yeah, right. But do you say hello to them?
Yeah, but in Poland, for example, they do.
That's a different culture. I meant maybe Belarusian, post-Soviet.
Belarus, Poland, different culture?
Post-Soviet.
Okay.
There are lots of different things about culture in Belarus and Poland and Lithuania. Anyway, I mean, you will find a lot. But for example, you travel somewhere, and even I remember I had a case in Kiev.
Okay.
We were living in a hotel on the 8th floor, something like this. Yeah. And in the evening, we entered an elevator, and there was a guy. Okay, as usual, we didn't do anything, we didn't say anything. And the guy's, hello. Hello. How are you? I'm here to visit my son. It was an Englishman.
Yeah, right.
And his son was working there or whatever. And until he left the elevator, we were speaking. And it was probably uncomfortable for him to stay silent.
Yeah.
Whereas it was uncomfortable for us to try to support this conversation. Yeah. Another example, I went to Britain many years ago with a group of children, and we lived in basically in a campus, which was at that time used for foreign children who came and studied English. Yeah. And there were a lot of employees who are British. And I remember in the morning, I accompanied the children to the canteen to have breakfast. Yeah. And one of the employees was standing near the door saying hello to everybody. And he said hello to me every day. And he always said, how are you? And I knew, theoretically, that I was supposed to say that I was good and ask him too. Because, you know, I couldn't. It's a thing that in your blood,
It's not. I don't agree that it's in your blood.
I mean,
actually.
I personally, just go away. Don't ask me those questions. Just say hi. Why is it so difficult for you?
I think for me, like I never actually saw it as a generic, like natural thing, because like these teachers, I mean, like when I was a student, they were overdoing it. So they were kind of like,
they probably.
how are you today? Like, come on, can you be just natural, okay?
But sometimes it's one of the methods. You exaggerate something a little bit at the lesson.
Yeah.
You make it seem funny so that students
Like
relax
notice,
and also
yeah.
do it. For example, you teach them some function like saying thank you in different ways,
Right.
or receiving compliments
Okay.
and giving compliments. Oh,
That's a difficult
what a
thing,
nice shirt! I mean, you ask them to role play and they will be reluctant to do it because they will feel stupid. I'm at a lesson and I need to compliment my group mate. Maybe I don't even like this group mate and I don't want to compliment him at all. But you demonstrate it, exaggerating, and you make them laugh. And this way you make them a little bit more relaxed, and maybe they will also exaggerate, and as a game, kind of a game, they will practice giving compliments. Maybe this is what your teacher was trying to do.
But that's what, like, that was not the impression I had.
Yes. You got irritated, that's all. You got annoyed, sorry.
Yeah, if I understood that it was like really practical, that is like necessary. Yeah, because otherwise they see you as just another rude Russian guy.
Yeah, but again, this is what I'm teaching my IT guys. They have Skype calls, video calls with customers, and customers say something to them, and many of them, most probably, I predict,
say yes, no, poker face.
And I ask them.
Typical.
I ask them, do you say anything? Do you ask some questions? And they say, no, our customers are okay with that. And I think the customers have been working with them for a long time. They're used to it and they just know what to expect. But I still believe that it's impossible to get used to such things. If you consider the person rude, somewhere at the back of your head, you will still think that they're rude. The same with emails. They write, send me da-da-da. I mean, come on.
Hi, send me this.
Yeah, it's rude.
Do they still write this?
Some of them do.
Okay.
I'm not speaking, right now I'm not speaking about my IT guys. I'm speaking about some other guys who I know and who do it and who I try to persuade to use formulas like, could you please, would you mind doing something?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I don't agree here, because in top companies, for example, I can say for sure for maybe top 5 companies in Belarus, because obviously I had students from there, yes, and they all use informal language.
If
like
your
client,
business partner writes hi to you, no problem.
Yeah.
But if you are, okay, that's cool then, no problem. But if your business partner is 70-year-old CEO of a company which produces some kind of equipment, and you want to be the dealer of this equipment here in the Republic of Belarus.
Oh, okay.
No way you can write hi to them. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, context matters, as usual. We teachers know context matters a lot.
I think it's not just about teaching. Oh, you were mentioning this is like about nice shirt. I recall the situation maybe two weeks ago. My friend based in Florida, Jan. So we went to where? To the shop to buy. I think I was buying this
flag.
This flag, yeah, yeah. So we went to the shop. It was, I think, Walmart. So after that, we went back to the car. So, and on our way to the car, he saw because I wasn't paying attention to the people, and he was he lives in America all his life, and he's like
more relaxed.
And he sees like 2 black girls, and he said like, oh, nice glasses, and
okay, he complimented her just like that.
Yeah, and the girl is complimenting back, nice bodies.
And okay, really?
Yes.
Okay, she spoke her mind.
And then like we were like, what? We started laughing, and they also started laughing.
She probably just, she said it without thinking, and then it's a little bit embarrassing for her as well. But funny, okay?
What?
Well, she complimented you guys on the first thing she appreciated. She saw you and she said what she thought.
Super weird. Super weird.
Well, yeah, especially for us. And what about your friend? How did he react? He was also a little bit
we were laughing like hell for 5 minutes or so. Like, what?
I see.
Like, you're never gonna hear that. Like, normally we are taught at our English lessons, like, be polite and all, but here it's not just polite, it's common sense.
No, because it's, I forgot the word, but there is a certain number of topics which we avoid at lessons.
Right.
There is a word, like religion, politics,
like stop words?
sex. No, there is an acronym for it. Jesus, I forgot it, guys, I'm sorry. I knew it. Anyway, it's actually logical. You don't have to know this word. You just know that you shouldn't discuss, for example, politics, because you can support one politician and your student will hate this
juice
politician.
of life. Like, you can start a lesson by discussing politics.
Like, for example, you get a new client and you say, okay, I like this guy, I appreciate this religion, I don't like this. So if you don't like something, goodbye. No, but I mean, if it's a group, it's dangerous. If it's an individual student, maybe you can poke a little bit and you can try, and you will feel whether they support you, what you think is true or not. Then I can speak about it. Well, I can't.
Come on, we are in Belarus, so we are not supposed to tell the truth. So whether you feel this way or that way, like the best way is to just keep the poker face and say nothing. So that's the typical way it works.
No, but it's considered to be best to avoid some topics. So maybe that's why we were taught to be polite and to say nice things, and that's why texts in textbooks, in our course books, are so blunt in many cases, because they are too general, and they try not to hurt anyone's feelings.
Well, actually, it's a good thing when you ban these topics beforehand. I had an embarrassing situation when we took a contract. We taught teachers in one Muslim school. It was MSB in Indore, Madhya Pradesh state. So MSB is the title of the school, and it's the abbreviation of some religious name, right? So they were like Muslims of a special character, so not dressed in black burqas, but in like white and with flowers, like
so it's a different,
some like very specific type of religious belief. And there in Islam, so they don't speak of animals like at all. Like, I knew that they cannot eat pork and they prefer not to discuss swine and all, but I didn't know that all types of animals were off limits.
Okay. Of course, so, how could you know that?
But actually, local guys should have known that, we underprepared our session, so we were.
But it turned out okay at the end. So you learned that you shouldn't have spoken about it.
Yeah, we learned kind of the hard way.
Yes, the hard way. Yeah. But that's interesting.
But that's a totally different story.
But anyway, that's a lesson.
Well, yeah, sure. I think that we have to already call today.
Okay.
And I hope we can continue this conversation, because like we can go on and on.
Yeah, we will, but we will just stop the stream and we have lots of things to discuss here.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you meet your fellow colleagues who also doing the same thing, like to learn the tricks of trade and share all this stuff. So it's very valuable.
I agree.
So let me thank you for this wonderful contribution, and I'm sure the viewers are also going to appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me.
For inviting me. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, if you are a lawyer or you know any lawyer, so you
Lawyers Talk Shop. You get it at Lawyers Talk Shop, guys. And it's an amazing project, I promise.
Yeah, it's a unique one. And you can find more information at www.edufun.by.
Or just find Lawyers Talk Shop group on Facebook.
Yeah.
Katya Kubrak. Lawyers know her.
Right. And stay put. Cheerio.
Yo.